Let me ask you a question. Have your kids ever ignored you until you raise your voice, or until you threaten something, or even worse, until you cuss at them? If it's happened, guaranteed you're not alone. But here's the real question most dads never ask themselves. Did my kids ignore me, or am I accidentally training them to do that? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, I'm gonna give you 4 simple steps that can change the way your kids respond to you. And it all starts with something most dads already think they're doing: meaning what you say. Before I explain the strategy, let me take you all the way back to 6th grade. Most of you guys remember summer reading, right? Do they still have that? Maybe. The summer before 6th grade, I had books that I had to read. Now, during that summer, my mom was receiving treatment for having a tumor in her brain. And although I would let her know, Mom, I gotta go and get this book, she was well intended and she would say, okay, gotcha. But one side effect of the tumor was that she would forget things easily. So I chose to show some grace and say, I'm not gonna ask her about that anymore. I'm not gonna worry about it. So I didn't read my summer reading books. Within the first few days, the teacher let us know that we had a test coming up at the very next meeting. And if we hadn't read the book, we might want to do it. I thought, I don't know. I got to let her know what's going on. I asked if I could speak with her outside of class right quick. I explained my mom's situation over that summer and the impact that it had on my summer reading. And the teacher looked me in my eye and she said, okay, thank you for telling me. Just give me your test, okay? So I went back in the classroom and put my head down until the test was over. Fast forward to parent-teacher conference. As I'm looking at my grades, I notice right there, test grade 0. I said, I thought we had an understanding. But this gave me one of the greatest lessons about leadership and parenting that I've ever learned. And if you're dad trying to raise kids who actually listening and respect your words, this lesson will change everything. My teacher in 6th grade, she followed through. No anger, no yelling, just pure, calm accountability. And in that moment, something clicked in my brain. Is that my excuses only made me feel good. But more importantly, she meant what she said. And because of that, I took her seriously for the rest of the year. Now, decent dad, let me ask you this. When your kids hear your voice, do they hear suggestions or do they hear certainty? Because leadership, especially in your home, falls apart when our words don't mean anything. So today I want to teach you a framework, simple framework, to help you mean what you say. It's the acronym MEAN, MEAN, 4 habits that'll change how your kids respond to you. So first, M stands for model integrity. This is the first step. Your kids are always asking one question: do dad's actions match his words? Integrity means aligning the two, aligning your actions and your words. It means keeping promises even when it's inconvenient. Sometimes your kids should actually see you keep a promise when it's difficult. Let them ask, Dad, why are you doing that? Because that's when you get to say, because I said I would. And that's powerful. The Bible speaks directly to this. It says in Matthew chapter 5, verse 37, let what you say simply be yes or no. Anything more than this comes from the evil one. Jesus was teaching something profound. Your words should carry weight. No exaggeration, no manipulation, just good old plain truth. So question, when your kids hear you say yes or no, do they believe it? Or do they wait to see if you really mean it? Next is E, engage with clarity. Most miscommunication in families happens because instructions are vague. Most, not all. Here's a simple pattern you can start immediately. Say their name, give a clear instruction, test for yes. An example would be, kid number 1, whatever your kid's name is, please put your shoes by the door. Can you do that? Let them say, yes, sir. Now you've created clarity and commitment. So if they don't do it, plain accountability comes next. But clarity also means honesty. Sometimes the strongest thing a dad can say is, I don't know, or I was wrong. That kind of humility builds trust. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 22 says, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who act faithfully are his delight. Kids remember vague promises for forever. Trust me. If you ever said, we'll see, or maybe, you already know. They never forget. That's basically the same thing as saying a yes to them. That's a commitment. So question, are you giving your kids clear instruction or are you giving them confusing expectations? So M is model integrity. E is engage with clarity. A, act with accountability. This is the third step. My sixth grade teacher was pretty good at that. Follow through every single time. Kids are constantly measuring whether your words are going to lead to actions. And dads, this matters even more in marriage because the way you keep your commitments to your wife teaches your children what commitment looks like. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 5 says, it is better that you should not vow than that you should vow and not pay. This verse is strong. God is saying, don't promise what you won't follow through on. Trust is built in droplets, but it's lost in gallons. But consistent follow through, that builds respect that lasts for years. So question, if your kids copied how you kept your promises, what kind of adults would they become? So we got MEA, last is N, navigate feedback. This is the last step. This is where many dads struggle. When kids tell us how something made them feel, our instinct is to correct their behavior immediately. There's something important to remember. Emotions must be addressed before behavior. If a child feels unheard, they stop listening and they stop doing. But when they feel understood, now you can lead. I give you this quick nugget that I use sometimes. I use EBC, emotion, behavior, choice. First, I address their emotion. I'll validate it. They'll tell me the reason why they're feeling. I can say, yep, understood. You feel like this because of this thing that happened. And then I go into the behavior. Now, although you feel this, it's not okay for us to hit because of how we feel. And then lastly, I'll give them a choice. Now, you can either do A or you can do B. Which one do you choose? Here's how that will look. Hey, what's wrong, my son? Okay, someone made you mad. Tell me what happened. Oh, they're making a sound that you don't like. Tell me what's wrong with that sound. Oh, it's because they won't stop making that sound? Okay. So when they make that sound, it makes you feel annoyed? Oh, frustrated? Okay. Yeah, I get that. I understand it. But look, just because the sound that they're making makes us feel frustrated, that's not a reason for us to yell at them, okay? And that's not the way we handle our problems. So you can either ask them if they can stop doing it, or we can go into a different part of the house where you can't hear it anymore. Which one you want to do? ABC. James chapter 1 verse 19 says, know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Notice the order. Hear first, speak second, lead third. Listening is not weakness, it's wisdom. So let's bring this all together. If you want your kids to take your words seriously, you have to mean what you say. M, model integrity. E, engage with clarity. A, act with accountability. And N, navigate feedback. These 4 things can change your voice from a background noise into leadership. One day, decent dad, your kids are going to grow up and they'll remember a lot of things about you. But one thing they'll never forget is this: that dad's words mean something. Because when a father's words carry weight, his guidance carries power. That's how you raise kids who respect truth, responsibility, and faith. If this video helped you think differently about your role as a dad, check out some of the resources I have in the description below. And I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to comment. Let me know which of these 4 is the hardest for you right now. Let's grow together. Let's fight back against the dad deficit, because strong fathers build strong families, and strong families build the future.